welcome to the Week in Review, the show that brings you up to date on the week that was. Here are the top stories. Cairn and Vedanta extend the deadline for their deal. BPO firm Genpact announces mega acquisition. And the season's biggest fashion event sets new trends. It's been an eventful week for Cairn and Vedanta, with their proposed deal going one step forward, one step backward, and one step sideways. On Thursday, the two firms were forced to extend their deadline for the acquisition. They pushed the last date to the 20th of May from the previous 15th of April. The postponement came a day after the Union Cabinet decided to refer the Cairn-Vedanta deal to a group of ministers for approval led by Pranab Mukherjee. The agreement involves Vedanta buying between 51 and 60% of Cairn India. Opposition to the deal comes from state-run ONGC. It owns 30% of Cairn India's most lucrative oil block and doesn't want to pay royalties for the entire field. Meanwhile, at least one part of the Vedanta acquisition is a step closer to reality. On Tuesday, market regulator SEBI gave it the go-ahead to make an open offer for 20% of Cairn India. The offer will happen through Vedanta's group company Sesa Goa, which plans to start the process on Monday, the 11th. Also in natural resources, a new Supreme Court decision has provided relief for some of India's mining companies. On Tuesday, the court ordered Karnataka's ban on iron ore exports be removed. The ban has to end by the 20th of April. Karnataka prohibited iron ore exports in July of last year. Its move reduced India's exports of the material by a fifth. And private airlines have taken their concerns about new ground handling rules to the Supreme Court. On Monday, they appealed against the government's decision to restrict ground operations to firms dedicated to that business. The court in turn issued notices to all the parties involved. It will hear the case on the 25th. Back in 2007, the Civil Aviation Ministry had proposed ground handling at 6 major airports be hived off to separate companies. Airlines opposed to move because they usually take care of baggage and other ground operations themselves. They went to the Supreme Court after the Delhi High Court ruled in the government's favour. Also this week, BPO firms Genpact and Headstrong have struck a deal that could shake up their industry. Genpact has agreed to buy Headstrong for $550 million. It will complete the purchase with its own financial resources. The two sides will close the deal by the 31st of May. Genpact was originally a part of GE Capital in India, and GE still accounts for nearly 40% of its revenues. The company is hoping its acquisition of Headstrong will widen its customer base. Many of Headstrong's clients come from the financial services industry. In other news, Parliament's Public Accounts Committee quizzed several people in connection with the 2G scandal. Topping the list on Monday were Ratan Tata and corporate lobbyist Neela Radia. Later on, PAC head Murli Manohar Joshi said Tata was candid but called Radia's replies evasive. Of course, Joshi wasn't finished. The next day, Reliance Group chief Anil Ambani walked in for questioning. Joshi said Ambani spoke freely and frankly, but added that he didn't talk about issues that could be part of the ongoing CBI investigation into the scandal. And here are some stories in brief. Agriculture Minister Sharad Pawar said the government might lift its 4-year ban on wheat exports if there's a bumper crop. India has already increased its forecast for 2011's wheat harvest to 84.3 million tons from the previous estimate of 81.5. Daily labourers can hope to get better pay. The government has hiked the minimum wage for them by 15% to 115 rupees. Its new rule is effective from the 1st of April and could mean more cash in the pockets of some 20 million workers across the country. RBI Deputy Governor Subir Gokarn says previously unacceptable levels of inflation have now become the new norm. But he added that the Reserve Bank could not afford to be slack in combating rising prices. Wholesale inflation remains well above RBI targets despite monetary tightening. Meanwhile, food inflation has slowed down in March end. The food price index was at a 4-month low of 9.18% in the period to the 26th. The previous week it climbed 9.5%. And finally, the Wills Lifestyle India Fashion Week kicked off on Wednesday in Delhi, with some of the country's top designers showing off their latest collections. We leave you with images from the event. Thanks for watching.